I'm getting ready to head back to uni for my final year of a 4-year degree, and thank heavens that I am. For me, the summer represents chaos, and I know you're going to question my sanity when I tell you why. Everybody looks at me like I'm talking gibberish when I tell them that 3 months off over the summer sends me into a tailspin of anxiety. Most people jump in here and tell me how they'd love to have 3 months to do this or that project. I'm sorry, what can I say? I'm built for the regularity of working life, and I love the focus that comes from having a curriculum to follow and a reading list that supports it. I am in heaven at university. I will say that I am compelled to find a positive in everything, and having these summers with my children whilst they're still young has been amazing, and I will always look back on that with gratitude. We are mysterious and complex beings, and I am fully capable of being both a complete anxious mess and being grateful for spending time with my children. Let me quickly reintroduce myself, as it's been a while since I posted a video. I am Holly. Hello. I left school after my A-levels and went straight into work. I was arguably quite successful, but by my late 20s and with 2 small children, I needed out. I needed something new, but I had no idea what, so I spent a year doing some freelance work and taking on some amazing projects, like publishing a book about photography during the pandemic and setting up the Analog Spotlight events, and also speaking at the photography show at the NEC. But in August 2022, I applied to uni through clearing and started on a humanities foundation year, just 2 weeks later. I changed my mind over what degree I wanted to do a couple of times since I started. I finally settled on a literature and history degree, and I'm very happy with that choice. Back to now. As a student, back to school time feels like a goal-setting time, but I've always felt this way, even when I wasn't in education. I think it's something to do with my birthday being in September. Whatever the reason, now that my kids have made their merry way back to school, it's time for me to look to the semester ahead and what I want to achieve. So I'm setting myself up with a trusty spreadsheet. I love a spreadsheet, especially a colour-coded one, to give myself a good grounding in the subjects that I'm going to be taking. Yes, I am that much of a nerd. Whilst I can't access all of my course materials, I'm still a little bit too early for that. I can access the reading list online and get a feel for what we'll be doing week by week for each of the modules. Some of these I own, some I can download from the university library online, but some of them I need to go in and get the physical hard copy from the library. What a shame that I had to actually go to the library. In case anyone is interested, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'll be studying. I really like to find out what other people are studying, so hopefully you will too. This semester I'm going to be taking an early modern women's writing module. This feels like a natural progression for me. I seem to have centred myself quite firmly in the early modern period. Last year I took a general introduction to early modern writing and also a reading and writing in Elizabethan England module. I find myself inexplicably drawn to this period and wanting to delve deeper. Last semester, whilst working on some assignments, I actually read quite a few additional essays that are more than relevant to this module. So for the next couple of weeks, I've decided to get better acquainted with the period known as the Republic in England. I'm reading Republic by Alice Hunt, which takes you through the decade in question year by year. My second module this semester is on English landscape history for the period 1450 to 1950. This is a vastly interdisciplinary subject, so I describe myself as being interested in it from a social and cultural perspective over and above a scientific one. One of the books that I'm starting with is a book on the iconography of landscape, which I'm quite excited about. Yep, I'm a massive nerd. And also this book called This Other Eden, which takes us through the changing attitudes to landscape gardens among the monarchs and upper classes from the 1500s onwards. Now, because I just can't help myself, I did take a look at some of the modules that I had wanted to take in previous years but never managed to. And I've looked at their reading lists and found some bits that I would quite like to learn over the next year. I've been looking at the course that's all about criticism, and I'm going to be starting with The Function of Criticism by Terry Eagleton to get an understanding of why criticism is something that we do. I'm also reading the essay by Oscar Wilde, The Artist as Critic. I hate to say it, but I've so far found that quite wordy and verbose. And the second one I've been looking at is An Introduction to Modernism. Modernism falls outside of my historical academic interests, but it is something that I have long been wanting to learn about. I read a novel that was described as being a postmodernist novel. I really hated it, but I became interested in what this idea of a postmodernist novel was, and by extension I wanted to understand what modernism is juxtaposed with postmodernism. So it is something that I've been looking at for quite a while, but have never gotten around to delving any deeper into. So I'm going to be starting with the recommended chapters from some introductions to modernism from that course. I'm making notes on my reading with pen and paper. I like to make handwritten notes. Last year I tried making digital notes using Notion, but honestly my preference is pen and paper. It's certainly easier to type your notes, far quicker, but I find that my recall isn't as good and I don't end up looking at those notes unless I really need something for an assignment. Whereas if I've handwritten my notes, I retain the information far better, and I'm also more likely to glance through the notes and to mull over the ideas that are in them. This results in new ideas forming and new avenues of interest to explore. Everyone is different, and I've seen some amazing digital note-taking setups from classmates where documents cross-link to different ones in different classes and different reading lists. It's amazing, but honestly for me, handwritten notes is going to be the way forward. So there we have it. I'm ready and raring to go.